Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Monday, December 20th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you are someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about the tool of technical analysis and charts to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. Before I get started, though, I want to personally invite you to this free live online class that I'm offering here in a couple weeks. So if you're liking what you see as I go through the video and you're wanting to learn more about this tool and how it can be used to build consistency as a trader, then definitely get signed up for the free class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box. If you're watching at my site, then somewhere right there on the webpage you can click on to get signed up for it. So just keep that in the back of your mind, and if you're liking what you see, then certainly get signed up for the free class. A couple quick clarification points here before I start on the stocks themselves. First off, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame. So if you're a beginner, all that means is that each one of these candlesticks, as they're called, represents 30 minutes worth of time. And also the market is still open for a little while longer. So you will still be seeing these candles move around a little bit, but the market's near enough to being done for the day where the levels I talked about are still going to be completely relevant when we get into Monday. So I'll definitely be talking about things from more of a broad standpoint. So just keep that in mind as I go. So first one here, ticker symbol AMC, and what a monster move here on AMC, which granted in hindsight, it was kind of clear that, not this big of a move, but you could see that, the price was slowly trending upwards, as I talked about in yesterday's video. Wasn't necessarily anything exciting on Thursday, but sometimes lack of excitement just means healthiness. It means that the price is consolidating out, which is what it did here, and then really made the nice move here. But with today's nice move, it revealed something to us, and it revealed this low right here. And that low is important in my mind because, the first 30 minutes of the day were actually really bad. Gap down, price came all the way down here, but that's where the buyer stepped in. And not only did the buyer step in, they stepped in a very, very big way. So because we now have that data point, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. We can also now, start to gauge the overall health of the movement by getting this trend line into play right here. So now this assumes that you care about more than, just a single day, that you care about more so the bigger picture. But now we have this very well-defined trend line. So moral of the story here is that moving forward, as long as the price stays above that trend line, changing that to green to represent more so bullishness, but as long as the price stays above that trend line, then the chart is in complete health. Think about it. The price come all the way down here, then explode all the way up here, and then come all the way down there, then go back up. But in each of those situations, notice what's happening. The price would still be putting in those higher lows, and that's what it's all about right now. So from a support standpoint, watch that trend line right there. As far as resistances are concerned, next key level watch now from an overarching standpoint going to be right here around, give or take, let's call it the $32.50, $33 mark. So watch that. But overall, like I said, the most important thing in my mind, at least, is now just to continue to show signs of progress by staying above that trend line. Next one here, SPRB. And like I said, the markets are still open. And this is why I like to do it when the markets are still open, because it's fun. We're seeing this breakout play out right now in real time. So the big dynamic here is that, okay, yes, this big movement has happened. The volume is pouring in. Prices acted very nicely with it. But this all brings about the next question. Okay, is this the start of something much bigger next week? And think about it. In order to ask that question, you need to have, something happen in the first place, right? And the something that's happened is this big explosive move. So is this big explosive move a leading indicator of just that much more momentum to come next week? We'll see what happens with it. But as far as pullback areas are concerned, so if you are somebody that likes to play pullbacks, then the first interesting area from a pullback standpoint going to be right down there around $3.50. And also keep an eye on that purple line there, the 50-period moving average, which I understand is completely irrelevant right now, but keyword being moving. So as next week plays out, that line's going to move itself higher and higher and get more and more relevant. So again, keep an eye on that level. Again, as I speak right now, completely irrelevant, but that'll change next week as that line moves higher and higher. But 350 and then that 50-period moving average are going to be the main levels from the support side of things. As far as areas of resistance are concerned, the next big battleground to watch moving forward, it's going to be all about this general area right up here around $4. I was going to say $4.90, but what are those highs? Probably $5, right? $4.95. Let's just call it $5. $5, especially with this surge of momentum. No guarantees, but is it plausible to think that the price could get up to $5? Absolutely. And who knows? By the time you're watching this, you're actually going to know just how far this breakout moves. So I don't know. Maybe is the price going to get up there $5? Maybe you're watching this video and say, Clay, the price closed above $5. How awesome would that be? But as of right now, it's in total breakout mode. So keep an eye on 5. And if the price can get up there and break through it, well, that would just be that much more evidence that the momentum is reaching pretty impressive levels. Next one, LCID. And overall, a very rough start to the day. A terrible start. Let's just call it what it is. Gap down, and then that first 30 minutes. Look at that big, nasty red candle. However, also look where the price happened to find some support. Right here at that green line, which I've talked about in past videos. So did it bounce off it exactly? But generally speaking, the power of charts. Price came down around that area. not only found some support, not only found some buyers, and like AMC, just not to the extent, but found buyers and then a very impressive bounce in the upwards direction. So impressive to see just how bad of a start this was and then to see the recovery. But moving forward, right around that 36.75 mark, that green line, just definitely still remains a level of support and a key level, and probably a level that just that many more people are going to be watching now because of the data points that have been put in today. So if there is any sort of pullbacks, 36.75 going to be a very important level right there. As far as areas of resistance are concerned, main level to watch going to be that area right up there. Let's just call it $42.50. That's just the top of this pattern here. So, and more so in a very broad sense. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and adjust this level down to make this channel a little bit easier. So we'll call it 36.35. But yeah, essentially what we have here is just a sideways channel pattern. It's a pretty big channel, don't get me wrong, but overall, that's essentially what is now taking place here. So going into next week, it's mainly just a question of, is somebody going to finally win out of the battle? Are the bulls going to win out by breaking to the upside of the channel, or are the bears going to win out by breaking on the downside? That's the big question next week. But from more of an overarching standpoint, really sideways channel is essentially the best way to summarize this current formation. Next one here, TSLA Tesla, and the level that I was very curious about today was that green line, and the price broke down below it. So to start off, like several of these other stocks, not a good start at all, but to give Tesla, credit where credit's due, very impressive bounce. Not only brought it back up to that trend line, but continue to bounce it upwards. So on that note, I'm going to go ahead and extend this trend line out because I think that it's still going to be an important level, or at least the level that I'm going to pay attention to. Whether or not you want to pay attention to it, obviously, that's up to you. But for me, that's going to be the level that I'm very curious about from the support side of things. And then as far as areas of resistance, the main level now to definitely watch is going to be this overarching trend line right here, which, equates to value, I don't know, let's call it right around the 955, 960 mark. So keep an eye on that. And now that I see this, if you can kind of just eliminate this movement right here, pretend like it doesn't exist, eliminate that movement, pretend that it doesn't exist, you essentially have a sideways channel, just like LCID. So kind of an interesting look at this. But like I said, for me personally, these are going to be the lines that I'm watching. Maybe you see some other lines, and that's fine. There's no black or white way. It's all about let's at least see levels that are not random. And by no means is that level random, that trend line. By no means is that trend line random. So that's the ultimate goal as traders, is use charts to find not random locations that you can build trade plans around. And these are going to be the two main areas that I'm curious about next week. Next one here, SNDL, and not a whole lot to report from previous videos I've done other than the fact of, from a trend building perspective, it doesn't get any better than this. The price continues to put in these higher lows and is putting in these higher highs, and that's the name of the game, and that's what matters most. And what's going to just be, the most straightforward way to gauge the health of the current move, again, that right there being defined as quote-unquote the move. Just watch that 50-period moving average. As I've mentioned already, that line is going to continue to move higher and higher, which is basically like a trend line that's going to draw itself for you. So in other words, as long as the price stays above that trend line, then the overall trend is still in the bullish direction. And, that's what matters, from a health perspective, assuming you want to see the price go up. So like I said, from a very straightforward point of view, key level of support you want to see the price stay above is going to be that purple line. As far as areas of resistance are concerned and main battlegrounds now moving forward, key level at, not quite where the price hit today, but right up there at 63 cents. Price got within the general vicinity of it before pulling back, but that'll be the next key battleground, which you can see over here has presented a couple problems in the past. Doesn't mean that the price can't push through it or anything, but just that, there is a track record around that area. But overall, very, very impressive back half of the week, and as long as the price keeps on putting in those higher lows, that's what matters most. Next one, GNFT, and this one I like quite a bit just because there's just a very kind of straightforward flow of things. The first is, you have the price very clearly working its way upwards. It's been, up and down, up and down, up and down, but it's still been trending upwards. So from just a general momentum standpoint, you got to like the fact that this thing has been putting in some, pretty sharp higher lows, which just illustrates the fact that, of course, it's not momentum in the sense of the price just goes straight up, but it is momentum in the sense of it doesn't really pull back for that long. So if you like to play these sorts of momentum plays, then I would argue this one would probably belong on the watch list here. So keep an eye on just that general dynamic about the overall momentum. As far as breakout areas are concerned, key area to watch going to be right up there around that $5.75 mark. Nothing fancy, nothing complicated behind that reasoning other than the fact of, that's just where the party has stopped up there. So keep an eye on that. But again, what I like the most is just the fact that, of course, the volume is solid, but you have these nice, good, steady, higher bases, and as long as that, overall momentum stays there, even with pullbacks, while it doesn't guarantee anything, it does make it plausible to think that another breakout to come to potentially push it above $6. So we'll see how it plays out. Next one here, PLTR, and this one is super interesting now for a couple reasons because the price is sitting right at a very, very interesting level as far as the technical chart is concerned. First area that makes it, or first reason why this is an interesting level is right around $19.15. I mean, let's go through the history here. So many data points right around this general area of the price, including today, getting rejected at that area. But the other dynamic here is that even if the price does break through that level, well, then not that far away, you have that stubborn 200 period moving average right now valid at 1930. Now, the bad news is yeah, it's going to be a pretty stubborn area. It's going to take a whole lot of power to get up through these areas. But the flip side of that coin is, but if the price is able to push through there, once again, no guarantees, but doesn't make it valid, doesn't make it rational to think that if the price can push through both of these areas of resistance, that could really create quite a bit of upwards pressure and upwards buying momentum. It absolutely is. So like I said, a catch-22 in the sense of, yeah, I would expect this general area to be very, very stubborn. But if the price can overcome that stubbornness, that would be a great situation. And then as far as levels of support are concerned, watch that purple line moving forward, which now you understand and have heard me say is the 50-period moving average. But like I said, the most interesting dynamic that I think a whole lot of people are going to be watching and wondering about is, can the price break up through this resistance zone in these couple different areas? Let's see what happens. Next one, RIVN had earnings and the market did not like it. But what makes this interesting is that after the big gap down and after that, really rough opening 30 minutes, the price has now started to bounce upwards, which does bring about the question, okay, yeah, it's bounced nicely, but is there any sort of true power behind this bounce? And I have no idea, but by using charts, we can make answering that question very straightforward. And in my mind, it all revolves around that area right there at 95. Why is 95 important? Well, it goes along these lines of logic that if this is a truly strong bounce, well, the price is going to keep making progress, right? And I'm curious. Well, yeah, no kidding, Captain Obvious. Of course, if it's a truly strong bounce, the price is going to make progress. But that also brings up the question of, okay, but how are you defining make progress? Those are just words. And that's the power of charts. They allow you to take words and make them very visual and quantifiable. And in my definition of progress, again, $95. Even if it comes down there and stays around that area, what would that still be doing to the chart? That would still be giving the chart lows there, lows there, lows there. You envision those as stair steps. And hey, you have those stair steps making progress in the upwards direction. So in my mind, is this a strong bounce? Well, let's see if the bounce can make progress. How am I defining progress? By staying above $95. So let's see how it continues to play out next week. Next one here, BFRI. And kind of difficult to talk about as I stumble over my words because it's really just about perspective. What do I mean by that? Well, if you are a day trader, flipper, scalper, and you bought right there, maybe you bought right there buying the dip, and your plan was to buy and sell within 20 minutes, well then yeah, from that perspective, the chart looks really, really bad because this has been a very big pullback. But on the flip side of things, assuming you care about the big picture of things, everything is still perfectly fine. How can I say that? Well, let's just get a trend line into play here. And you can see that from the big picture point of view, the price is still up above, and it's actually nicely up above that trend line right there. And not to mention, this is not the first time this thing has had some pretty brutal pullbacks. You look right there, pretty brutal. Right there, pretty brutal. Right there, definitely a nasty pullback. Look at that pullback. Holy smokes. There's another nasty pullback. So once again, another nasty pullback. Now, let me be very clear. Does that mean that for sure, guaranteed, no doubt about it, the price is going to recover and go back upwards? No, of course not. But is that at least valid? Is there any sort of evidence to suggest that it would be okay to think that it could? Yeah, about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces of evidence where it's done it before. Again, does that mean it's going to happen again? Absolutely not. But nobody could accuse you of saying, why would you think that? It's never done it before. Well, no, in this situation, it's done it 5 times before. Now, again, if you're a day trader and you bought up there, then yeah, you're looking at this chart very differently. But from the big picture point of view, even with the big pullback, the overall trend is still plenty in the bull's favor. Next one, OPK. And, stating the obvious when I say this, but what a just monster move straight up. And now it's just a question of, okay, does this want to pull back some more or what exactly is going on? And this is one where, if you do like to play pullbacks, you got some interesting levels here to keep an eye on. First key level from any sort of pullback angle, going to be right there around the $4.40 mark. Not saying it's going to go down to $4.40, but even if it did, think about it. Price could come down there, bounce around, and then from an overarching standpoint, as far as, some sort of pattern would be concerned, so generally speaking, you'd still have a beautiful bull pennant in that situation if that were to occur. And again, not saying it will, but that just kind of shows how powerful today was, where the price could absorb a pullback like that, and yet there would still be a bullish pattern that is forming. So keep an eye on 440 from the support side of things. And then as far as resistance areas are concerned, I'm going to have to squeeze things down here quite a bit because it's been a long time since the price has been up this high. So it's always a good problem to have when you have to go back this far into a chart's history. In fact, that's what I wanted to point out there. Let's just get that into play here. So take that high. Oh, wow. So it's even broken out through that trend line. So that trend line I'm using from multiple months here, and I'll zoom back in, and you can see that the price is actually up above that level too. So this is essentially blue sky breakout as far as I'm concerned right now. So it's really at this point, if you do like to play momentum, just how much more momentum can you get this without some sort of pullback. So if you like to play breakouts and if you like to play stocks with a whole lot of momentum, stocks that are, breaking big major trend lines as you just saw right here, breaking above that red line, then I definitely get OPK on your watch list. So that wraps up the top 10. Again, if you like what you saw here and you want to learn more about this tool of technical analysis, how it can be used, how it should be used to build consistency as a trader, then definitely get signed up for the free class. Like I said, it'll be a couple weeks, Thursday, December 30th at 7 p.m. Eastern time, so definitely get signed up for it. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy this format, if you would like for me to continue to make these top 10 videos, then please communicate that to me by hitting that like button and leaving a simple comment below. Say hi. Let me know what you traded today. Let me know what you're watching next week. But those two things, hitting the like button, leaving a simple comment, go a long way in communicating to me that you enjoy these videos. And like I said, as long as I know people are enjoying, then I have no problem putting in the time and effort to make these videos. And one final time, I want to invite you, get signed up for the free class if you're liking what you saw here, and if you want to take your understanding to another level so that you can begin to build consistency as a trader. Everybody take care. Have a good weekend.